Hi everyone, welcome to Carmen's Australian Storytime. Today I am reading another CBCA notable book for the Children's Book Awards for 2022, and this is another great Indigenous book called Walking in Gagudju Country, Exploring the Monsoon Forest. It's written by Diane Lucas, Ben Tyler, and Emma Long is the illustrator. Look at all those beautiful Aussie animals. Let's see what the blurb has to say. When we go walking, we never know how long we will be, what we will hear, and what we will see. We pack our bags with food and water, a billy and some matches to light a fire. We head off into the shady monsoon forest on the edge of the Billabong. Diane Lucas, Ben Tyler, and Emma Long share their knowledge and love of the top end in this enchanting and accessible book about one of Australia's most ancient and beautiful ecosystems. Look at all the beautiful butterflies, and there's ants. Great illustrations. Now, this book is dedicated to the elders that the lady walked the land with, and to her husband and children for their love and support. And we acknowledge the landholders, especially those original landholders, and give respect to the past, present and future tribal elders. If you ever get to Darwin, there are some beautiful places to see in the top end. When we go walking, we never know how long we will be, what we will hear, and what we will see. We pack our bags with food and water, a billy, and some matches to light a fire. And you know what else you need in the top end? Plenty of water and a first aid kit. We head off into the shady monsoon forest on the edge of the Billabong. I wish I was reading this book up in Darwin right now, because I bet it's a lot warmer up there than it is here. Look, there is a tree full of emboy, which is white bush apple. One just fell into the water, and there is a nadahu popping up to gulp the fruit, which is a short-necked turtle. We scramble through the vines and find some aniboy on the ground. They are soft and a little sour, but juicy and delicious. Judy is calling out, warning us of something. Maybe Kinga, which is the willy wagtail, one of my favourite animals. And they call them the jirij. I don't think you say the K. I hope I'm pronouncing these correctly. Maybe Kinga, or just having a good dance in the tree. It's a saltwater crocodile, Kinga. Kinga, that's like the king of the water, isn't it? The salt water. What you saying, little bird? That old ceremony man, Gun Balnanka, told me. That bird tell you story to think about. Maybe some trouble around, or a snake nearby. So the willy wagtail will give you a warning. Ah, Kinga there. See the bubbles? Better not go in the water for enboy bear. So no searching for enboy bear, the beautiful white bush apple, in the water, because there's a Kinga in there. And the jirij, the willy wagtail, was warning them. And there's Maya, a shining flycatcher bird, sitting on her nest, and Lock scurrying amongst the leaves. A Lock is a skink. Lots of tricky words to say in Indigenous language. We hear the call of Warbok, which is the rainbow pitto bird, and soon she is jumping across the leaf litter, picking up insects to eat. So many murly in this cool place, which are butterflies, another favourite. They remind me of a visit from the ancestors, beautiful and gentle. That tree could be a canoe tree, straight and long. Yeah, that one's called Andidi. It is a good tree to hollow out. My old granny told us stories of paddling in canoes to collect goose eggs in the season of Bengkering and Ankoli bamboo for fish spears. Other elders living near the sea have spoken of making sails for canoes to travel to the islands to gather seagull eggs. Oh, lots of information about how to use the bush for good use, like a boat and fishing spears. Look at that huge red termite nest. We could collect broken pieces to use on the fire to make coals for cooking. Some of the black termite nests are special Zhang ceremony ones, which we need to leave alone. We stop for a drink and collect some Gilid gili. It grows amongst the flowering Anbedji sugarcane grass. Its pollen is like fairy dust. The parent plants sprinkle the pollen to make baby plants. There are some bush bees that might be Nabiwo. They are the ones who live in the ground. Looks like they're going to that termite mound. Their little legs are yellow with pollen dust from the flowers. Let's see where they fly, and we might find Ankung, the sugar bag bush honey. Yum, delicious. Have you ever had some bush honey? It's very, very sweet. And they usually hide their honey pretty well. So it's pretty hard to find bush honey. My bees, right down the back there, you can't see them. They're busy making bush honey too. But I haven't had any honey for such a long time. I'm really hoping this summer I get a really good crop of honey when I harvest. Namarakon, the lightning man, is lining up the clouds, and I hear Jawok calling. It might rain soon. Jawok is the storm bird. Unkinjek twines around that tree, which is cheeky yam. We follow the stem into the ground and dig until we find the cheeky yams in shallow soil. We break off the yam, then we put the top back into the soil and cover the hole so it can grow again next year. That's what Granny Minnie taught us. It doesn't take long to collect a small bag of cheeky yams. This is a good vine for binding fish spears, the monsoon forest vine. It's very strong. Elders have a big story for that vine. They call it midjaka. People use midjaka to bind bamboo rafts and bark canoes. It's also used for ceremonial necklets for women and armbands for men. Watch out for kabo. They're weaving those leaves together so cleverly to form a nest. The green ants, oh yeah, watch out for those. They're not very fun when they land on you, trust me. I know about this. When old man Gunbanaka was dying, he asked us to gather green ants and honey to mix as a medicine for him. So you really have to know what you're doing with bush medicine, and I would only trust elders or trust people who've lived in the bush for a long time and learnt from the elders. There's that beautiful, tall Unjanjok with its corky bark, and look, there's a nest on that branch, the milkweed tree. Granny told my mum about a great ancient fire that destroyed the world. These trees were the only ones left standing. Sounds like another Dreamtime story. Years ago, I asked Bill Naiji what the story was for those strong, tall trees. That tree lives many different places. Kabal, the floodplains, Ankabo, the riverbank, Anberk, the woodlands, and Angari, the jungles, he said. Go sleep under one. So one September, I slept for 3 nights under a tree, and it revealed its perfume flower scent at night. To survive cyclones and fires, these trees drop their leaves. Their energy goes into their roots, and later they grow their leaves and stand with great strength. So that's a pretty good trick. It reminds me of what old man Bill Neji always used to say. Look that tree, eh? Listen to you. Watch you. He got no finger, that leaf. He pumping. He growing in the night while you sleep. You dream something, that tree and grass, same thing. It grow with your body, with your feeling. So they believe that they're in touch with the nature around them and are very respectful. Even when they're using things, they always put it back to grow again, or they try to leave the place as they find it. Sweat pours down our faces as we walk along the track. We reach the crossing and down comes the rain, so cooling and refreshing. When it stops, we have a sandwich and begin to prepare the unkenjek, which is the cheeky yams. I apologise if I'm not saying these quite right. They're very tricky words. We gather some karok and place them onto the coals to cook freshwater mussels. After the yams have boiled, we cool them off in the creek water and peel them. We collect some ankod and old karak shells and jockey cut the yams into thin slices. Then we place them in a dilly bag and tie the bag to a branch hanging over the creek, usually a paper bark. Nawandak slithers gracefully through the water. That's a file snake. We will leave the yams here until tomorrow or the next day so the cheekiness is washed away. Mustn't be very good to eat that. The juice from the mussels is sizzling on the coals, telling us they are ready to eat. Nubak lands on a branch next to us and sings a cheerful, melodious song. Nearby, another one answers. That's the drongo bird. It's time to head home through the forest of vines that edges the billabong and see what else we can find. Jui calls and we ask, do you have a bower here or even a nest? That's the northern bower bird. Old man Kaparigi told me, you gotta watch those birds. They'll steal your bones out of the cave when you die. That sounds a bit scary. Look up, above our heads hangs Warlark, curled in a fur of brown fur. She is sleeping. That's the microbat. Now, we've got a microbat outside our tree at my house at the moment. It's so tiny and so cute. And it's hiding from the other birds. And they are very important to our ecosystem. So if you see one of those, don't be scared of them. They're very, very necessary to our environment. Tonight, when she awakens, she will fly into the darkness to find her food. Little crickets, mosquitoes, nectar from the flowers. Tomorrow, when daylight comes, she will come back to this tree and hang from this branch. Listen, there's Yerinj watching cautiously from a low branch. It is daytime, so she does not want to move. We pass on by. That's the rufous owl. Tonight, Yerinj will be awake and ready to catch kulaban, work or yok. The little red flying fox will catch brown bandicoot or bush-tail possum. A fat nalangak is hiding on a tree trunk. You can't see me, he hopes. He wants to get the yene, the termites, from the ground, but needs us to move away. He's the frilled-necked lizard. Listen, that cackling, hissing sound, it's Bubuk, Buk, jumping off the ground into that tree. It looks like she's hiding too. Maybe she has a nest nearby and wants us to leave. That's the pheasant kukal, a pheasant bird. The Anunjek vine is starting to ripen now. It's the season of kujuk, the bush grape. Old Topsy told us the story of this grape and Kuri, the blue-tongued lizard. When Kuri has her eggs inside her, the vine is flowering, and when her babies are born, the grapes are ripening. At that time, it is okay to eat that lizard. Good story to share, eh? We watch Kukuldanj busily scratching leaves to add to their mound, the jungle chooks. Oh, that's an interesting name for the bush turkey. Good eating, I hear, old Granny said. They didn't eat them, but some white fella buffalo hunters told us the eggs were good. Look, Bered is flying over. He sounds like Dinerdini calling, the rainbow bee-eater. He sounds like a cicada. The elders taught us to answer these birds. Bered, we call, as we watch them swoop from a leafless branch and catch nabawo. Oh, this is hard to say. Jalangkarij, or Dinnerderni, the bush bee and the dragonfly. Oh, that's a hard one, dragonfly. Sometimes in the early evening you can see a whole flock moving together, catching a swarm of insects. Anne Jalen is standing all quiet up there above us, but when the season of yaki comes, the bright, luscious flowers will bring a flurry of life to the tree, the woolly butt tree. Imagine a tree called that. Coolabun and lots of birds will lick the nectar. Delicious unkung, the sugar bag bush honey, is made by Nabawo from that nectar. The flowers tell us that it is time to start burning the woodlands and rock country. So, what the animals do indicates the time of season to do other things in the bush, like burning off. What a great idea. The monsoon forest has many small trees with flowers. We need to search hard to find these secret scents among the forest leaves and stems. The trees aren't tall here in the monsoon forest, yet the tangle of vines is like a playground for birds and children to hide in and climb. Those big tangly vines are so strong. Wait a second. I missed something. Nope. That an andubang is taking up a big space here in the tree. Andubang, the ironwood tree. These trees have so much story. Only the sap growing on small trees in rocky country can be eaten like toffee, but you must know which ones are safe. Anjuringe hangs from branches, imitating the leaves of the tree it lives in. Its flowers are a bright red-orange. The elders say the leaves and flowers, when boiled, make a good medicine to wash away skin infections. Some elders say this plant tells them a rainbow serpent lives inside the tree. The leaves and green seeds of an anlarabi make a good soap. Elders say they collect the seeds when dry, grind them with stones to make flour, and then mix damper to cook on hot coals. So you really have to know what you're doing, or you really could make yourself sick with a lot of these bush medicines and bush cooking. So if you want to try these things, make sure you know someone who has already done it before. Marawudi is calling, telling us the fish are fat, ready to catch. We are nearly home. Marawudi is the eagle. We could catch fish when we go back to the creek crossing tomorrow to get the unkenjek, the cheeky yams. Tonight we will dream about who else might swim to the dilly bag to nibble the unkajek. What a lovely walk we've had today. Tonight we can dream. And on this page here, it will tell you how to say all of those cheeky words that we've just had to learn, and all of the information that we just read in this book. So many amazing words in language there for us to have a go at. And it's really important to pass on this information to future generations so we don't lose the wonderful languages that we have in Indigenous Australian culture. Well, I hope I read that book okay. That was a lot of tricky words to say. I hope you can have a go at those words too. Maybe you could make posters and put them up on your wall at school to remind you of all of the names of these animals. Thank you for joining me on Carmen's Australian Storytime. What a great book for learning about some of the names of the things that we take for granted in our culture, all of our lovely Australian animals. I look forward to reading to you again soon, and I hope you enjoyed today's book, Walking in Gagudju Country. Alright, don't forget to click and subscribe, and I'll be reading another CBCA book very soon. Bye for now.